realization shattered us.
That kind of loss behind the Alberta government's Compassionate Care Act.
Right now, all of Canada is in the grip of this crisis, and we must do all we can to help Albertans who struggle with addiction.
The new system would allow loved ones, healthcare professionals, or the police to apply to have an Albertan struggling with addictions to be forced into treatment. If the application is approved, police can apprehend the person for a 72-hour assessment period. A panel consisting of a lawyer, a doctor, and a member of the public then decides if they can be forced into treatment for up to 90 days. Alberta's involuntary care plan is set to begin next year. BC already allows forced treatment for addiction. Involuntary care laws exist in nearly 40 U.S. states too. But experts are still unsure if it actually works.
The outcomes are quite varied. What we have seen, however, is that some of the more robust models, such as the Massachusetts model, have led to more overdoses and poor outcomes.
Well, that's what happened to Angela Wells' daughter. The teenager died just weeks after being released from involuntary care.
That's always what happens, Mom.
What's that, Dick?
Killed her. Certainly the toxic
I wasn't
supply has something to do
listening,
with it, but the fact that we, involuntarily took her into that facility, just basically destroyed her trust with her family.
Despite those worries, Alberta's premier believes involuntary care is worth the risk.
Alberta's premier, as opposed to parents.
Something that is certain, the need to stem the tide of overdose deaths in Canada. 50,000 Canadians have died using opioids in just the last decade. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.
Toronto police say an individual may have been targeted.
Well, let's not forget something about the opioid crisis that I've been trying to talk about on my channel forever. Do you remember when I was in the wheelchair and I had to be weaned off the medication, how horribly difficult it was? Well, what is happening now is people that have actual pain management issues are having difficulties because people are not dying from prescription medication, they're dying from fentanyl. And do you not think that the governments in Canada, America, Mexico, why do you think that nobody invades Mexico with the cartels? The cartels run Mexico. How do you think Mexico knows how much methamphetamines or fentanyl or heroin to send into the States? Because when the Purdue's made OxyContin, doctors just started cutting everybody off of them. Then methadone clinics popped up everywhere. And now that there's no OxyContin, that's where the Mexican cartel gets in there, and they know what the supply and the demand is in North America for fentanyl, crystal meth, all of those nasty drugs. And what's going on in Canada right now with homelessness?
Don't ever take drugs.
I don't take drugs, Mother. You know that. You watched me go through weaning off of that medication from being in the wheelchair because the doctor didn't say anything. And what bothers me the most about that issue it's
your own doctor started to help you.
well, not only did words are weapons. There's this his name's Eminem, and it's called Words Are Weapons, and they are weapons because the words that two doctors used on me to manipulate me because I was vulnerable and they made such a huge mistake. I could have sued the hospital, but because the psychiatrist knew how my mind worked, knew that I would never be aggressive, and it just makes me sick because doctors cut people off of medication, people's bodies crave it, people didn't know this in 2012, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse, but it's not prescription medication anymore. Oh, is that Yellowknife?
Northern Lights.
backyard. New travel data show fewer and fewer Canadians are heading south to the United States,
The
whether
fucking
by
right.
air or road. This March, close to 1 million fewer people crossed the U.S. border than last March. JP Tasker looks at the links to Trump tariffs and rhetoric.
Huh.
Cross-border travel to
Yeah,
the U.S.
stupid
has
Jeff.
cratered
Tyrion.
as many Canadians vote
No,
with
I'm
their wallets
taping.
and stay away as the country fights a
Jim.
trade war.
You know he's trying to stir
Going
things up
down
back in
to
D.C., but don't
Florida.
let that ruin your beach plans.
Oh,
California
do you
Governor
remember when
Gavin
we were in
Newsom
the
is trying to
parking
turn
lot?
things around, launching a new ad
Or
campaign
sorry,
that
Charlie
wants
and
some
I
Canadians back
were
to
in
the
the
Golden State.
elevator, and a lady said she was going to Florida, and he said that's not very
The
Canadian.
latest U.S. border data
When
reveal
was
why
this?
This
officials
was
are
a couple
feeling
weeks
anxious.
ago.
Nearly
Which I
900,000
think
fewer
that-
people traveled from Canada to the U.S. in March compared to the same month last year. A 17% decline in what's historically
Who
a
keeps
busy
track
month
of
for
these
vacations.
This
statistics?
is not the way that we treat our neighbors, and
Exactly.
we certainly don't treat friends like this.
Exactly.
It is hurting people, and it's causing harm.
The mayor of Palm Springs says his resort town depends on Canadian visitors, but President Donald Trump's tariffs and taunts are driving people away.
There is a big hole that will be felt if we don't get this straightened out for
Yep,
this season.
that's right.
The heart is blanketing the city's airport and main streets with these banners to make skittish Canadians feel welcome.
People aren't traveling, and it's border communities and border community businesses like ours, Turing, that are
Oh, get
being
out.
impacted the most.
Get the,
Sales
what
have
was that
plummeted at
Kleenex for?
Dozens of family-owned duty-free shops that dot the Canadian side of the land border.
Oh,
The
I
number of
remember
Americans coming
those.
north has also dropped off, creating a dire
That's why
situation
we
for store
almost
owners.
missed the
They're
plane.
scared. This is a crisis. They
She
need
is
that travel
beautiful.
over the border to be viable.
Cross-border travel hasn't been this low since the pandemic, and there are signs things could get worse. According to industry data,